where we have a healthy air to breathe and a fresh water to drink, isn't it? We are finding the same thing? No. We are not getting fresh air to breathe and we are not getting fresh water to drink. Do you know the reason behind it? Why do not we have fresh air to breathe and why we do not have fresh water to drink? So, this is our lesson, children. Let us go to the lesson, not for breathing, not for drinking. Here you can see this picture. Boy Akshay is traveling on a bike along with his father Satyam. When they were traveling, traffic police stops him and he wants to see the papers of his father. Father shows all the required papers of the bike and his driving license. And when the traffic police asks him about the pollution control certificate, father was unable to produce it. And that is why father is asked to go to a pollution control van. You can see this is a mobile pollution testing van where father Satyam makes sure that his bike is in a good condition. How will van gives the certificate? See, this is the certificate the father is been given after checking the bike. This certificate is given by the pollution control department. Now, here you can see the certificate has the bike number and it also has different details given. So, you can see this is the bike number, they give the certificate valid for 6 months and they say that this is a two-wheeler and then this is a bike which has pollution under control, and that is why this certificate is called as pollution under control certificate. Children, which department issues the pollution under control certificate? The pollution control department. For how much time is it valid? It is valid for 6 months. For which type of vehicle has it been issued? I showed you the certificate, it was issued for two-wheeler. What is the emission test? What components are tested in the pollution checkup center? These are all the details given in the pollution control certificate. So, children, why should the vehicle be tested for good condition? Why the certificate has to be given? Is it given for all the vehicles present on the road? Yes, because of the increase in the traffic nowadays. You can see this picture, so many vehicles are there on the road. Children, after the combustion of the fuel, if all the vehicles keep emitting poisonous gases, then what happens to the air? Will it be suitable for us to breathe? No. So, because of the heavy traffic, because of the industries emitting so much of pollution into the air, so many poisonous gases are being emitted by these industries into the air and we are unable to see a blue sky. In olden days, people used to say that the sky used to be blue, clear with white clouds. But nowadays, do you find this condition? No. Clean water was available for them to drink. Children, even the fresh air is being polluted and the water is also being polluted nowadays. So, all this leads to environmental pollution. So, what is environmental pollution? We do not have fresh air to breathe, we do not have clean water to drink. That means there are so many impurities are added into the air and water which are making it unsuitable for it to breathe and unsuitable for it to drink. So, anything that is harmful to the environment is pollution. Children, where is this harmful gases coming from? They are coming from the litter, car exhaust, motor oil, used tires, smoke, chemicals, disposed computer, mobile phone materials, etc. All these can have an instant or a gradual impact on our health. So, what is air pollution? First, we have to know what is fresh air. What are the 4 major gases present in the air, children? Maximum amount of air is composed of nitrogen gas. 78% of nitrogen is present in the air, 21% of oxygen is present in the air. That means, if you consider air as 100%, in that 100%, nitrogen is present up to 78%. and oxygen occupies 21% of the air. Then what about the remaining gases? Children, carbon dioxide and other gases, they occupy 0.33% of air. Inert gases and mainly argon up to 0.93%, and water vapor and other gases are also present in the air. Now let us define what is air pollution. When the balanced state of air is disturbed. How is it disturbed? Children, by the addition of different unwanted gases. So, the natural air is disturbed by the human activities due to the addition of different unwanted gases, and that causes air pollution. So, substances responsible in disturbing the naturally occurring balance are said to be pollutant. The impurities which are disturbing the natural air are called as pollutants. Pollutants are again of two types, children: primary pollutants and secondary pollutants. So, let us define what are pollutants. They are also defined as primary pollutants resulting from combustion of fuels and industrial operations. Combustion of fuels, that means we pour diesel or petrol in our vehicles. So, on the combustion of these fuels only the vehicles are moving. If you add unleaded petrol in the vehicles, then it will lead to less pollution, because the gases which are emitted by the vehicles will not cause so much of harm. Then if you add impure petrol, of course the combustion of the impure petrol or leaded petrol will increase the concentration of impure gases in the air, and that will lead to the air pollution. And what are secondary pollutants? They are produced due to the reaction of primary pollutants in the air. So, when primary pollutants they react with the air, then secondary pollutants are formed. These secondary pollutants they again cause harm to the air, and that leads to air pollution. Children, let us study about, there are natural causes and there are man-made causes. First, let us study about the natural causes. There is a volcano erupting from the mountain. Children, before the eruption of volcano, you can see smoke coming out, and then slowly the lava flows out of the mountain. So, the natural disaster which causes air pollution is volcanic eruptions. This cannot be stopped by the human beings, and so the gases which are coming out from the volcanic eruptions, of course they cause a lot of addition of different gases into the air, which leads to the air pollution. Even the ash which is coming out from the volcano will create a lot of air pollution in the nearby areas of the volcano. The another phenomenon which increases the pollution is the forest fires. This is also a natural disaster. This also cannot be stopped by the human beings. The forest fires, they release lot of gases. So, when this forest they burn, lot of carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide is released into the atmosphere, which pollutes the air, which cannot be stopped by the human activities. We can not stop the dust and the storms, isn't it, children? Mainly in the desert areas, because of the forceful wind, the dust and the sandstorms takes place. This also adds a lot of pollution into the air, which cannot be stopped by the human beings. Then, children, the lot of organic matter keeps on decaying, and that releases a lot of ammonia gas into the air. This is also a natural phenomenon which adds up a lot of pollution into the air. So, this also causes air pollution. So, the decay of organic matter lying under the water also releases methane gas, and it also adds up to the air pollution. Children, in the nature we find so many beautiful plants with their beautiful flowers. They all have pollen grains. So, the pollen grains released by the plants remain floating in the air and polluted. Some pollen grains even cause bronchitis also. There are some pollen grains which cause infection, and they create lot of suffocation to some of the human beings also. So, this also adds up to the air pollution. Now let us study about the human activities which cause air pollution. Nowadays we are informed in the TVs also to at least avoid vehicle at least for one day, so that a lot of fuels which are burning by the human beings, they can be decreased, and lot of smoke liberated by the vehicles can be stopped. So burning of fuels pollute the air, producing pollutants like carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, smoke, soot and ash. So at least for one day, if you stop using the vehicle, you can stop the release of these many gases into the atmosphere. Children, another human activity is industries. And if you see the harmful pollutants released by the vehicles, they are sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide and even unburned hydrocarbons. So lead compounds and soot also are released into the atmosphere when you use leaded petrol instead of pure petrol in your vehicles. So children, we are nowadays using so much of electricity. How is this electricity produced? We have hydroelectricity, thermal electricity. So we have one more type of electricity which is produced from the nuclear power plants. Nuclear power plants are using radioactive substances as fuel rods, which produce a lot of heat, and this heat is used to boil the water. But what happens to the water which got heated up? It is again sent into the water bodies, which is increasing pollution in the water. And when you are burning so much of fuel rods in the nuclear power plants, there are two problems occurring. As we are using radioactive substances, they emit harmful radiations called as alpha rays, beta rays and gamma rays. These rays, they are released in the atmosphere. So the waste also which is released into the atmosphere causes air pollution, and the waste and the possibility of meltdowns which has occurred in Chernobyl. This is a place where nuclear power plants were placed. You can see this after melting down. This is the condition of that place, Chernobyl. This was the biggest meltdown of nuclear power reactor in the world in Russia in 1986. Because of the meltdown, the fuel rods released so much of heat into the atmosphere and so much of radiations into the atmosphere that has damaged so many kilometers around this place, that is Chernobyl, which is present in Russia. This happened in the year 1986. Now let us just recall this incident which occurred in Chernobyl. After the meltdown of Chernobyl, there was a fire and formation of a radioactive cloud. The cloud was made up of radioactive chemicals. So radioactive chemicals are placed in the nuclear power plant. These chemicals which were released into the atmosphere, they caused cancer to the people surrounding it. Cancer of thyroid gland, because when they inhaled it, the body parts have absorbed those radioactive substances, and mostly affected organ was thyroid gland, which is present in the neck. So children, these nuclear power plants or the power generation plants, they cause a lot of damage to the air and also water. Now let us study about power generation plants. Some produce power by using water, hydroelectric power plants; by using coal and gas, thermal power plants; by using radioactive substances, the nuclear power plants, they produce electricity, isn't it? And from the tidal energy also electricity is produced. But what happens when you are using this power generation plants? Ash and dust and sulfur dioxide is also released from the thermal power plants, isn't it? It also causes air pollution. And from the nuclear power plants, what is happening? So much of radiation is coming out, which is getting added up. One more human activity which increases pollution is fertilizers and pesticides. Where do we use these fertilizers and pesticides? We use fertilizers to increase the soil fertility, and we use pesticides to kill the pest. Pesticides are used to kill the pest which are destroying our crops. But children, what happens when you use excess amount of fertilizers? This fertilizer will form a layer on the plant, it forms layers on the soil, and then when excess of water is poured, all these pesticides and the fertilizers, they get added up with the water bodies. And some of the fertilizers and pesticides which were sprayed on the plants, they also get added up into the air, increasing the air pollution. So, use of fertilizers and pesticides in agriculture, it pollutes not only air but also land and water. Now, you can see the main reason for air pollution is we are destroying many forests. What is it called as? Deforestation, removal of forest or cutting down of trees in the forest. What is it helping us in? Do you think it is really helping us? No. It is decreasing the quantity of oxygen present in the air and increasing the amount of carbon dioxide present in the air, because forests are called as lungs of our earth. As many as trees are present, that much amount of carbon dioxide will be utilized and that much amount of oxygen will be released into the air. But if you keep on cutting down the forest, that will lead to the increase of carbon dioxide, and if the carbon dioxide increases, then there are so many after effects we have to observe. So, if the destruction of forest and wood takes place, then we can see lot of pollutants are added up. Now, you can see this is a spray which is releasing CFC, chlorofluorocarbon. These are used in the refrigerators, air conditioners and even in the aerosol sprays. Children, this CFC, chlorofluorocarbon, it destroys the ozone layer which is like covering the earth atmosphere. We know that there is a thick blanket of air around the earth which is called as the atmosphere, and upon the atmosphere we have a ozone layer. This protects the earth from the harmful UV rays. It stops the harmful UV rays from entering the earth's atmosphere, and these UV rays are filtered. Only the useful solar energy reaches the earth. But these CFCs, it is depleting the ozone layer. That means the ozone is getting converted to oxygen. What happens to the thickness of the ozone layer? It keeps on decreasing and decreasing. And because of that, when the ozone layer thickness decreases, then there is a chance of harmful ultraviolet rays entering the earth's atmosphere. And when the harmful ultraviolet rays reaches the earth, it causes skin cancer. And even it also increases the temperature of the earth. So, use of CFCs pollutes air by depleting the ozone layer, as a result of which harmful the ultraviolet rays reach the earth. Children, here you can see the man is digging out coal from the coal mines. So, mining, this mining of coal and stones, it also releases coal dust and the stone dust, which adds up the impurities into the air, causing air pollution. Now, let us study about the effects of air pollution. It causes certain diseases including shortness of breath, because we like to breathe oxygen. The lungs have a capacity of storing the oxygen, and when you inhale air, fresh air, then only the oxygen levels will be sufficient for your body to work. But if the air is not pure, if it has pollutants in it, then you will feel shortness of breath. You will suffer from sore throat, you will suffer from chest pain because of suffocation. You will have a nauseatic feeling, that means you will feel giddy, and you will suffer from asthma, heavy breathing problem. And some patients, because of the impure air, they suffer from bronchitis also, infection in the bronchus. And some in later stages, they also suffer from lung cancer, infection in the lungs, their lung capacity decreases and they suffer from lung cancer also. The extreme effects of air pollution are the blood pressure increases, the BP increases, high BP, and the cardiovascular problem take place. That means they suffer from heart problems. As sufficient amount of oxygen is not reaching the heart, then the lung capacity decreases, and that means the heart also it stops working properly, and that means they suffer from cardiovascular problems. It also causes injuries to the animals. It causes damage to the forest and the vegetation and even to the aquatic ecosystems. So, children, the major loss is being seen in the plant life, animal life and in the human life. That means in the living things. Then what about the non-living things? Do you think even the non-living things are also suffering because of this air pollution? Yes. Our monuments. One of the seventh wonder of the world is in our India, Taj Mahal. Now you can see this is the original picture of Taj Mahal. It is constructed by using the white marble. Because of the air pollution in the Agra, the color of the white marble is changing into yellow. So, the air pollution has an impact on the monuments, on the metal structures, that means the infrastructure which is made up of metals. It also has an impact on the leather, rubber, fabric industries, and it also causes a soil deterioration and soil erosion also. Children, what is happening to the temperature present on the earth? Children, carbon dioxide has a lot of impact on our earth's temperature. Only 0.33% of air should be carbon dioxide, and if this carbon dioxide increases, then if carbon dioxide content if it increases, if you keep on destroying the forest, then what happens? The temperature on the earth keeps on increasing. You can see the globe is heating up. This is the major effect of air pollution, and that is why the summers are becoming more and more hotter, and even the winter temperature is also raising up. So, air pollution causes ozone depletion, it causes greenhouse effect, and it also causes global warming and acid rains. So, the increased temperature on earth is called as global warming. Carbon dioxide content in the atmosphere is increasing, and that is called as greenhouse effect. Because of this greenhouse effect, the snow which is present on the polar regions and even on the Himalayas, it is melting down, and if the snow melts into water, what happens to the small islands present? The sea level increases, and these small islands, they are drowning in the sea water. So, what happens to the sea level? It keeps on increasing because of the increased temperature on the earth. So, these are all the different effects of air pollution. Children, natural greenhouse effect is nothing but the solar radiation which is entering into the earth's atmosphere should again escape into the atmosphere again. But what is happening? Because of the human enhancement, because of the release of so many pollutants in the air like carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, more and more greenhouse gases, they are not allowing the heat to escape out. So, less heat is escaping into the space. Earlier, natural greenhouse effect used to allow more and more heat to escape into the space, and that is why the temperature on the earth was less. But because of the increased greenhouse effect, the less radiation, less heat is escaping into the space, and more heat is being trapped in the atmosphere, because of which the temperature on the earth is increasing. This is because of so many greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane and nitrous oxide present in the air, which is increasing the air pollution. Let us try to reduce air pollution. Some steps what we can easily follow are, instead of using vehicle which is running by fuel, you can ride a bike. Children, instead of taking out car for shorter distances, and you can share your car, that means you can do carpooling. 4 of you can share a car and happily ride and go to the nearby places. And you can use energy saving bulbs and thus decreasing the pollution. Children, you can also use catalytic converter. That means in your vehicles you can use catalytic converter, and which will decrease the release of pollutants like carbon dioxide and nitrogen into the atmosphere. Children, plant so many trees so that carbon dioxide level decreases, and these trees, they increase the oxygen levels. So, how to reduce the air pollution? You can put tall chimneys, and you can add these pollutants which are coming out from the chimneys into the higher levels of the atmosphere, above from the ground level. We can also design the fuel burning equipment in such a way that the fuel is completely burnt. Children, if the fuel is completely burnt, carbon dioxide is released, and if the fuel is not completely burnt, then carbon monoxide is released, which is more harmful. Carbon monoxide combines with the hemoglobin, which forms carboxyhemoglobin, which is really poisonous and dangerous than carbon dioxide. So, carbon monoxide should not be released into the atmosphere. Install electrostatic precipitators in the chimneys of industries. These electrostatic precipitators will act like filters, which will not allow the harmful gases to be released into the atmosphere. You have to reduce the vehicular emissions, and you have to use unleaded petrol, and you can use CNG, compressed natural gas, instead of using petrol or diesel. Use LPG for domestic use. Improve the quality of fuel in the automobiles, and use catalytic converters, which will decrease the addition of pollutants into the air. Make use of renewable alternative source of energy like solar energy, wind energy and hydro energy. You know what is solar energy? Energy coming out from the sun. Wind energy, like windmills, can be used for producing electricity, and even the hydro energy can be used to produce electricity instead of nuclear power plants. And we have seen electromagnetic radiations are released from the nuclear power plants, which causes a lot of air pollution. So, instead of using nuclear power plants, you can use solar energy, wind energy and hydro energy. The other step you can follow is the motor vehicles can be maintained properly, so that they follow the pollution norms and less amount of pollutants are being released, because constantly if you send your vehicle for pollution check, and if you send it for servicing, then you can balance and keep your vehicle in a proper condition so that it releases less amount of pollutants into the air. Use unleaded petrol. This is a very important thing you have to follow. Children, plant as many as trees you can. So, plant and grow more number of trees in your surroundings. This will decrease the air pollution. Now, let us rewind what we have learned, children. Pollution is an undesirable change in physical, chemical or biological characteristics of air, water or soil. Air pollution is the contamination of environment by impurities which may have harmful impacts on the living organisms and the non-living components of the environment. We have studied about the pollutants. These are the substances which contaminate the environment. Children, the main pollutants are the suspended particulate matter like carbon monoxide, excess carbon dioxide, oxides of sulfur and nitrogen, and the chlorofluorocarbons and the heavy metals. These are all the main pollutants which cause air pollution. Now, answer these questions and improve your learning. What steps can be taken to control the air pollution and water pollution? Roadside plants cannot grow properly. You might have observed this. Find out the reason and explain your argument. What is air pollution? Make a flow chart to describe the causes and the effects of air pollution. If our monument like Taj Mahal is affected by air pollution, what can you do? Please advise to protect it. Children, please download the worksheets from SIET website for better learning and good practice. I hope you have understood the lesson. Let us meet in another interesting session of digital classes. Thank you.